In this video, I want to show you exactly how I found and hired a skilled virtual assistant to help me with service delivery in my agency within just 12 days. Now, I'm not a recruitment agency and I'm by no means an hiring expert. All I want to do is kind of take you through the exact same process that I use to find and hire a skilled employee in a short amount of time. So I'm basically going to be taking you through all the different hiring stages and methods that I use, just giving you a complete behind the scenes on my process. So hopefully you can replicate the same exact process and get a skilled VA for your agency in a short amount of time. The first thing I did was sign up to online jobs. Now I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. This is just my platform of choice when it comes to finding different virtual assistants and just overseas talent in general. There's a ton of different options out there, so don't stress too much if you're not using this one specifically. If you have another platform in mind, you can still use that and still apply the same hiring method and approach I take in this video. So don't stress too much if you're not using online jobs. Any hiring platform will work. So we'll start off with the job description because that's usually where most things start. Now, I'm assuming at this point you already have a good idea of who you want to hire. So I don't want to go too much down that road in terms of, helping you understand the different role and whatnot. Let's say you already have a role in mind and you know exactly who you want to hire for. I want to take you through the process of actually finding that candidate. So the first thing you need to do is write a job description. Now, if you already have an idea of the role, the easiest way to do this is just to go over to ChatGPT, and I could also show you the exact chart that I used. This is exactly how I did it. I gave it a general job title, and it went ahead and created this long job listing, which isn't entirely necessary. And obviously, over time, I went ahead and cut it down. You can do the exact same thing. In all honesty, this is my job description, but I would not recommend copying me just because when I was doing this, I was in a slight rush, right? I wanted to get someone in as quickly as possible. So I didn't spend too much time just stressing over the job post. I'm sure you can do a much better job. And in a second, I'm also going to show you a couple of things I would have added to my job post to make it a bit better. So go ahead and create a job post. Once that's basically done, you want to now go ahead to go to a platform like Online Jobs and begin adding that information. So in this case, you add the job title, the type of employment you want. This is where you can decide whether you want part-time, full-time, even a contractor maybe. Obviously, it depends on the position you're actually hiring for. The job description, where you basically post that job post here, the wage and salary, desired number of hours per week, your email, and then obviously the contact person. And for online jobs, you need to select the 3 different skills, which in this case, I think it was automation, something like that. Now, what are some things I would have improved? Well, there's two main things. There's two main things I would have improved from my job listing. Firstly, I would have added a bit more qualifiers. Now, this wasn't a massive issue for me because I didn't have a ton of candidates, but if you're going to be expecting a lot of different candidates, then this is something I would recommend adding in. Here you can add different things such as, in your job application, mention a certain word, or let's say send me a video of you recording why you want to be a part of this role, including my company name. Different things like that, just unqualified people straight off the bat. Once again, I didn't use this because I didn't have that many applications, so it wasn't too much of an issue. But if you are going to be expecting, let's say, more than 20 applications, then this would be a useful way to just siphon your way through them as quickly as possible, rather than have to take each applicant through the process I'm about to show you in a second. The second thing I want to improve is clear expectations. Now, I'm going to talk about this throughout the entire video, but I feel the hiring process in general has to be a win-win. So one of the things I definitely got to improve on was just setting much clearer expectations on exactly what I needed in the role. And this is something you're going to see throughout the entire video. At every single one of the stages, I want to make sure that it's a win-win for everyone. So I want to set clear expectations on pay. I want to set clear expectations on salary. I want to set clear expectations on the number of hours they're going to work. I want to set clear expectations on the time they have to work at. I want to make it as clear as possible to them what they're getting themselves into, because if they don't know, I don't want it to be a problem down the road. So one thing I could have done better is add more clear expectations. But now that we've actually got a job post, you go ahead and post it. And I went and posted it and managed to get 124 hits. And from those 124 hits, I had a good amount of people send me a message. And in my opinion, this is where my hiring process actually starts. So I'm going to take you guys through everything right now. So there's 5 main stages I want to talk about today, and it all starts at the very beginning. So at this point, they've gone ahead and sent me a message. I think for my post, one of the requirements I made was just send me a quick message why you might be interested in this role. And the first thing I did is send them this quick message. I said, hey, name, thank you very much for your application. It's great that you already have a proven experience at Mate.com. And in this case, this sentence right here was something customized. So something to do with the message they sent me. Now, once again, I took a much more human approach to this. I wanted to let them know that I actually was reading applications. So I chose to customize this sentence. Obviously, if you have a much larger number of applications and you don't have someone helping you out, then you don't need to do this. But I just like to do this. I'd love for you to arrange an interview with our customer success manager. Before we start, I encourage you to check out our channel, get an understanding of what we do and different tasks you'll be taking on. If after doing so you are still interested in the role, we can arrange for an interview next week. Let me know if you have any additional questions, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon. So this is nothing complicated. All I've basically done is directed them to my YouTube channel. Now, I'm assuming most of you watching this don't necessarily have a YouTube channel. So what you can send them instead is a link to a short video where you basically just share a bit more information about the role, go over different types of tasks they will actually be doing, more information about you and your company, and what is actually expected of them. Once again, guys, as I said previously, the whole aim of this is to make it a win-win for everyone. So the more communication you actually give them, the clearer expectations they will have of what they're getting themselves into, and the less likely you are to have problems in the future. So I'm very big on this, which is why I think the channel was such a great resource, because I can literally show them exactly what they're going to be getting themselves into through all my different tutorials and the different videos I actually have on the channel, like this one, for example. This is once again definitely not necessary, but the way I see a hiring process, it should be a win-win for everyone. And this is one of the ways you can ensure that they know exactly what they're getting themselves into. So after I've sent that message, if they've gone through the videos and they're still interested, this is when we move on to the second stage, which is organizing a very, very quick 15-minute screening. Here's some interviews that we did early this week. Some of them were taken by me, some of them were taken by Selena, which is basically my success manager for my agency. And this is the exact script we use. I'll take you through everything from start to finish, guys. By the way, if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe, because as you can see, I'm not holding anything back. I'm giving you guys the exact process that I use. And once again, I'm not a recruitment agency, I'm not a hiring expert, but this was top of mind, and I posted in my school community and a couple people wanted to see it, so I thought, might as well record it. So make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, going over different ways you can help the backend systems in your agency. Back to the video, guys. Let's go over this screening interview script. First things first, this is a very quick interview. Let's say maybe 15 minutes max. You don't want to make it too long. It's more so just to screen out people very, very quickly before you move to the next stage, which is the paid project. But let's focus on this for now. The first question I asked is an icebreaker. Now, once again, I don't know if the person watching this right now has ever applied to a job before, but it is quite nerve-wracking. So the first thing I wanted to do, and shout out to Selena, I actually got this from her, but I want to break the ice. So I think I asked them different questions like, tell me a funny story about you, or what was another one? Tell me a fun fact about you, something like that, just to break the ice. And I'll go around the room, or the Zoom room in this case, and basically ask everyone there if an icebreaker, because I would also share one once again, just to make them feel a bit more comfortable and release the tension a bit more, because this interview isn't anything serious. The second thing I asked them was to tell me a bit about themselves. Now, this is more so general. I just want to know a bit about their background experience. In most cases, I already seen most of them in their portfolio they sent over, or in that message they sent over, going over why they wanted to apply to the job. But it's just an easy way to kind of break that conversation. So I just asked them to kind of repeat it and tell me a bit more about themselves. After that, I go ahead and ask them what their current understanding of the role is. Now, this is important because once again, in terms of expectations, I want to make sure they know what they're getting themselves into. So I basically just asked them, oh, just have curiosity, like based on the job post and the YouTube channel, what is your current understanding of the role we want you to carry out? Super, super casual. And the main aim of that is just to get an idea of where their head is currently at. As soon as that's done, I basically go ahead and explain the role. Now, here I'm basically diving a bit more into the role, and it's similar to that video I told you to record. I talk about the role, I talk about what's going to be expected of them, different tasks they're going to be, and this is very important because the next question I actually asked them is what skills they think make them a good fit. And this is where I can see what specific skills that they believe make them a good fit for that specific role, which once again, if they mention the right skills, it means they have a good understanding of the role that I want them to carry out, which is a good sign. And if obviously they mention random skills, which some people did. I mean, I was asking about automation, and one girl, bless her, she was so sweet, but she started talking about Canva and design, which is a great skill to have, but not necessarily relevant to what I'm looking for. So that, to me, the first sign was, okay, maybe she didn't understand the role properly. So this question is very, very important. After that, I asked a bit more admin stuff, like for example, what hours you're available to work, what's your expected hourly rate, when you're available to actually start, and past experience working in remote teams. This is more admin stuff. Obviously, if people tell me they have a $50 hour hourly rate, I won't be hiring them. And once again, don't forget, the main purpose of this quick 15-minute interview is to screen people. So for example, if someone says they have an expectation of $50 an hour, then it might not necessarily be a good fit. If someone says they're looking to start in 6 months and you want someone this week, then it might not necessarily be a good fit. So it's an easy way to kind of screen people through different things. Then I asked them about future plans. Now this is very, very important, and I really recommend you ask them this question. Get an idea of what they want to do in the future, and if this is a long-term thing or short-term thing. The relevance of this question will change depending on the person actually watching this. But in my case, for example, I don't want anyone that's going to be there on a short-term basis. I'm looking for long-term people to actually grow with me. And the only reason is because we invest a lot of money and time into training these guys. So if it's someone that's only going to be here for 6 months or a year, it might not be as beneficial compared to someone that might be over 2, 3 years and can actually grow with us. So I always love to ask this question to get an idea of what their future plans are. And the last thing I ask is if they have any questions for me, because once again, this has to be a win-win for everyone. I want to make sure that all their questions and doubts are answered, so everyone's on the same page on exactly what should be happening at the role. Once again, guys, don't forget the main purpose of this is to filter people. So this is where some of the easy filters could be if they're a good fit for the role, if they have the right salary expectations, if they have the right skills for the role, if they're a good culture fit, and obviously their communication skills if they're relevant for different positions like appointment setters, closers, whatever it may be. Now, what's really interesting to me from this interview is two things. Firstly, the questions that I actually ask. I try give a lot of prompts for them to actually ask questions. And you can tell one of the high candidates and one of the guys that we actually ended up bringing on, he was asking all the right questions, mentioned different things like onboarding, which was amazing for me. It just highlighted me as the right character. The second thing I look out for, and this kind of went over this in a second ago, but it's future plans. I don't necessarily want someone that's looking to be here for 6 months, 3 months, wherever it may be, and then go to someone else. I want someone who's willing to stay for a long-term position. So it's very important to me that I get a good understanding of their future plans. And if they don't align with my plans, then there's no point bringing them on. So guys, at this point, I've gone ahead and done my job listing. I've had those 15-minute screening interviews, and now it's time to move on to the paid projects. Now, this is something I do with every single employee that I actually bring on in some form or another. For example, with my editor, one of the main things I did before I actually brought him on, I had about 5 of them complete a test editing project, which is obviously paid. And the reason is I saw this quote in a book. I don't remember where it's from, which is really annoying me. So if you know where this is from, make sure to leave a comment below. But the guy basically said, I can't work with someone until I work with someone. And I completely agree with this. So what we basically want to do is take all the successful interviews and get them to complete a test project. What is the aim of this? Two things. Firstly, it gives you an idea of the skill set and if they're actually able to carry out the role. But secondly, it gives them an idea of what the role actually is, which once again goes back to that two-way communication, making sure this is a win-win for everyone. The key thing you want to do here is making sure the task is related to the job post that they're actually doing and the role you actually want to carry out. And I'll show you guys mine just to give you guys a bit more context. This is my form. I just got them to write the name, the email, and then I went through the process of them building out different process diagrams, building out different automations, editing a Google Sheet, and sending an update message, all things that would be similar to the role they'll be carrying out for my specific use case. Now, once again, I wanted to show you this to give you an example, but realistically, this doesn't matter too much because you need to make it something that's related to your role. So for example, if you're looking for appointment setters, get them to respond to a couple of example messages. If you're looking for, I don't know, graphic designers, get them to create a couple graphic designer pieces. Just make it something that's actually related to the task and the role they're going to be filling out. And I'm going to give you guys a couple quick tips for this. The first tip I'm going to give you is keep it vague. This is something I did on purpose on my form as well. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to give them an opportunity to ask questions if they didn't understand something, but also add their own inputs. And funny enough, one of the guy that I actually hired actually was the one person who in that application or in that test project, sorry, added his own inputs and was proactive and did more than what I asked, which is exactly what I was looking for. So I purposely keep it vague for them to ask me different questions and for them to add their own inputs to kind of showcase their skills. The second thing I do is not to expect perfection. And this is a massive tip that I'm going to give to you guys. You have to remember, these virtual assistants won't be trained on your specific ways of doing things just yet. The main thing you're looking for is that general skill set, which you can then tailor to your specific services. So when I was looking through the test projects, I wasn't expecting a perfect result. I just wanted to get an understanding if the person had the general skills, which I can obviously refine to my specific method, which will take a month, 2 months time. But don't expect people to be perfect right away. So don't be too discouraged if no one follows exactly what you wanted, because the chances they do that is very, very low. The third tip I'll give you is to include Easter eggs. Now, I don't know if Easter eggs is the right word for it, but this is what I want to call it. But it's basically little things that will allow you to filter through the applications even further. For example, this can be something like only automate half of this message some point at the end. The main reason I like to do it is because I just ensure that people actually read the application fully, and the people that do it the right way are people that have actually taken the time to fully understand the requirements before they just move on with work. Now, I will say it's not a complete no-no if they don't, because it is one of the smaller things, but it's a good indication of someone that's actually paying attention to details and making sure they get a complete understanding of the task before they just rampage on and create something randomly. So that's another tip I'll give you. In terms of 3 things to look out for in this process, the first thing to look out for is communication. Throughout the test project, I want them to message me when they start working on it. I want them to message me if they have any questions. I want them to message you when they finish. Communication is very, very important to us, and that's something I emphasize to them in that kind of 15-minute screening interview. So I want to get a sense of their communication and if they're able to communicate as they're making their way through the tasks. The second thing is to look out for is the questions. Once again, I keep it vague on purpose, and I want them, in all honesty, to ask me different questions to kind of clarify the task, but that's exactly what I would want them to do on the role. Obviously, this will change depending on your specific role that you're hiring for. I'm just giving you guys an insight on what I was actually looking out for. And the third thing is obviously how long they actually take to complete the task. This will be useful for me to get understanding of how long it takes them to do certain things. And obviously, if I give them a task that takes 2 hours and it takes 10 hours to complete, then they're not necessarily a good fit. So once again, all I'm looking for here is those easy filters that I can filter our process. Because, from the screening interview, let's say we have about 20 to 40% of people. And then from the test project, I mean, ideally, depending on the quantity you have about 10% of people left. So the more filters you can actually add, the easier this process will be for you. Well, cool guys. So now you're at the point where you've done the job post, you send that first initial message to set the right expectations, you've gone through the screening interviews, and you've gone through the paid test project. It's time you move on to the second stage interview. Now, I will say this is completely optional, and it's more so when you're stuck between a couple of candidates and you can't decide which one. And for example, in my case, I didn't have to do this. It was a round one finish for me because I found the perfect guy based on kind of the whole process from the screening interview to the job post. He just stood out from everyone else. So it wasn't really a question. It was more so just about clarifying different things which you did with messages. But if you can't decide between two people, or you still have let's say more than 5 people that you need to kind of decide between, and you're still not sure, you feel free to kind of go through the second stage interview. And I would say just follow a similar approach where you're just more so clarifying different things, getting a good understanding of the skills, and just any information that you'll need to kind of make a decision between different candidates. And after that, we go to the point at the very end of the stage where it's time to pick a candidate. And this is now when you move over from hiring to onboarding. Yes, believe it or not, you do need an onboarding process for your employees as well, not just your clients. So if you want a video on that, make sure to leave a comment and I can take you through the exact process that I use and I still use to this day to onboard new employees to my agency. Apart from that, guys, that's pretty much it from me today. One thing I will say is when you start bringing on new people, you're going to worry about different things like onboarding. You're worried about different things such as SOPs. So I would recommend watching this video right here to give you an example of how to create the perfect SOP for your agency. I'll take you through the exact same method that I used, similar to what I did in this video, not hiding anything and giving you full access to the behind the scenes of my agency. Guys, it's been a pleasure actually recording this video. I hope this was valuable. Don't stop learning here. Check out the videos that come up in the end of this video. And if you have any questions about anything I talked about today or in any of my previous videos, leave a comment below. We're a very, very small channel. So if you leave a question, we're 100% going to see it and give you an in-depth response. We also do have a skill-proof community hub, which is basically our community where we share all the different resources from our YouTube channel. In there, we have about 200 different established agency owners who are all looking to set up skill-proof systems, and you also get different things such as direct access to my team and a step-by-step guide on exactly how we help our clients set up skill-proof systems. So if any of that sounded interesting, it is 100% free, so you can check out the first link in the description to actually access that and begin setting up the correct systems for your agency. But guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll stop rambling on. Hopefully you use all the methods in these videos and actually improve them to find a VA in a shorter amount of time who's a better fit for the role than you could ever dream of. Because honestly, guys, it's one of those game changers that will really, really change the way you run your agency. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.